In the previous video, we have seen the benefits and the capabilities of PubSub. In this one, we are going to look into the architecture of PubSub. Google PubSub have two parts. One is the data plane and the other one is the control plane. Control plane is also called router. That means it routes requests to data plane. It distributes client to specific forwarders. Forwarders are the servers in data plane in a way that provides scalability, availability, and low latency for all clients. The data plane receives messages from publishers and sends them to the clients. The server which processes the message are called forwarders, and the publishers connect to publishing forwarders to send data to PubSub topic. Subscribers connect to subscribing forwarders to receive messages from the PubSub. Only the publishing forwarders stores message in a PubSub. Let us see how the data is stored in the PubSub. In the PubSub, the data will be stored in the publishing forwarders, and the PubSub stores data in multiple clusters for availability and reliability. If there are n clusters, PubSub will store data in n by 2 clusters and send response to publishing client that the data is persistent. Now n by 2 clusters are filled. Rest of the clusters will be filled through a background process. In each cluster, the data is replicated to m disk. That means there are n clusters. All the n clusters will be stored with data. In each cluster, m disks will be having the same data. That means that much replication is done to provide the reliability of the data. If n clusters are there, if half of the cluster is filled, client will be notified that okay, your data is persisted. In same way, if m by 2 disks are written, then cluster will respond saying that okay, this cluster has persisted the data, and the rest of the disk need to be filled. That will be done eventually. Let us see how the PubSub works. We have the router, which is the control plane. Then rest of the part, the publishing forwarders, subscribing forwarders, they are called data plane. And the publishing forwarders will have a persistent storage. There the message will be stored. Then there is a proxy that will take care of encrypting the payload and optimizing the connections. We have a one publishing client and two subscribers. So that means message need to be sent to both the subscribers. Same message need to be sent to both the subscribers. First, publisher will check with the router to see which are the publishing forwarders available. Then router will send a list of publishing forwarder endpoints with a recommendation. Here the recommendation is P2. Router will do this by checking which is the nearest publishing forwarder for the client, and also it will do a check on which all the publishing forwarders are less loaded and which is more loaded. So less loaded ones will be given preference. Then the client will send the message to the proxy. Proxy will encrypt the message and send it to the publishing forwarder P2. Next, P2 will store the data into the persistent storage. Once it's stored, it will have a metadata. Metadata will show that okay, for this message, subscriber 1 and subscriber 2 didn't acknowledge it. So S1 is not acknowledged, S2 is not acknowledged. And it will send a message to client saying that okay, we have persisted the data and you are free to do your work. Next, client subscriber will check with the router to see which are the subscribing forwarders available for this topic. Router will send a list and there will be a recommendation. Client subscriber will connect to the subscribing forwarder. Here it is SF1 and do a pull request. Once it gets the pull request, the subscribing forwarder will do a pull request to the publishing forwarder. publishing forwarder will send the message to the subscribing forwarder, and the same message will be sent to the client. Then the client will send a acknowledgement, and that acknowledgement will send to the publishing forwarder. Then it shows that S1, the first subscriber, has acknowledged the message. Same process will happen for the second subscriber as well. It will do all the above processes and send a acknowledgement to the subscribing forwarder once it receives the message, and the acknowledgement will be sent to the publishing forwarder. Once the publishing forwarder receives the acknowledgement, it will update the metadata. So S1 and S2 has acknowledged, and it has only 2 subscribers, both have acknowledged now, and it will delete the message after that. Now message sending and receiving process has completed. This is the way a PubSub works internally.